Thursday, July the 9th, and I want to read from 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18, where it says this: "For the word of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved it is the power of God." I think about whenever Jesse was pregnant with Isaiah, and we had seen what had happened with our parents and how they raised us, but until you're actually a parent, you don't really understand. So you'll go and you'll read and you'll do everything you can to understand what it's going to be like going through labor and delivery and taking the kid home for the first time. But you really, don't understand it, until you're in the middle of it. And Paul writes in this period of 1 Corinthians, he writes to the Corinthian people about the birth into God's kingdom, that salvation that is offered through Christ. And it seems like it's incomprehensible. And there's a reason for that. Those that were looking for the coming Messiah had a certain expectation on what it was going to be like. Salvation was going to come because the Messiah was going to come on a white horse and wipe the Romans out of Jerusalem and set up his earthly kingdom and rule from Jerusalem. And therefore it would become the holy city that it was once again. And whenever you have those academic and philosophical ideas of what salvation as a people was going to be like, you get so set on them that you end up missing what God actually sent. I mean, it's not the way anybody would have imagined it. The cross was reserved for the vilest offenders. The cross was a gruesome way to die. If anything, the Assyrians started crucifixion. The Romans kind of perfected it over the years, and it became such a barbaric way to die that it was actually not allowed for Roman citizens to be put to death in that way. So God surprises everyone by bringing salvation in a way that makes absolutely no sense to the average person. Why in the world would salvation come through the most gruesome, heinous capital punishment we have known to man? It just doesn't make sense. But it does make sense to those of us who have believed and been obedient to the gospel message. That gospel that says he came, he suffered, he died, he rose again on the third day, and now is at the right hand of God, awaiting the time to come back and take his people back home with him. To those who have actually experienced and have become Christians, we understand exactly what this is. It is a moment of power that God uses something that was completely disgusting by human standards and brought forth salvation from it. No, it wasn't the white horse that everyone was expecting, but Christ was obedient to the cross. And because of that, when we're obedient to the gospel, have a chance for eternal life. It may seem like a strange way to do it, but God had a plan. Now it's our job to be obedient to that plan. He chooses the weak and the foolish things of this world to shame the wise, to show that his wisdom is above all other wisdom. I mean, you find that a little bit later in this chapter of 1 Corinthians. God took something shameful and disgusting, death on the cross, and made it a foundation of wisdom and power for the salvation of those who would be obedient to the gospel. Things don't always work out the way we think they should. And I don't know about you, but in this case, I'm kind of glad it's that way. I hope you have a good day today, and we'll see you tomorrow.